Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Tom Bilyeu Show Live. It has been an absolutely insane run for AI over the last couple of days. If you guys have not been paying attention, you are in for a treat today. Jack Dorsey, one of the most prolific modern founders, has just laid off nearly half the staff of a company making more than $2 million in profit per employee, stating AI has just become too effective to need so many employees. If you are waiting for the shot heard around the world, that's the one. Claude hacked the Mexican government. I'm not joking about this. This one is insane. We'll have more details on that coming up, but that one is completely unhinged. Perplexity has one-shotted Bloomberg's multi-billion-dollar financial terminal empire. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei refused to cave to the Department of War pressure to use Claude for mass surveillance on Americans. Shout out to my man. That's incredible. Definitely a round of applause for that one. On the downside, though, the Pope has had to ask priests to stop using AI to write their sermons. Apparently, God just does not get down with AI.
They're saying M dashes in front of the congregation. That's what's doing.
That is amazing. I hope they actually say out loud M dash. That would be incredible. In other news, both the US and China are urging their citizens to leave Israel and Iran as a strike or outright war looks to be more and more likely. So we'll be covering that in detail. Mamdani and Trump meet in the White House, and Mamdani may have proven that he is the Trump whisperer. I was legitimately impressed with the way that this guy handled himself. It's gangster. So you're actually going to hear some pro Mamdani sentiment coming out of me. I can't wait. And if you guys were hoping that the SAVE Act would get passed and protect voter integrity, you won't. But instead, you did get a congressional dog show. So enjoy that, you filthy animal. Aww. I can't believe that it happened, but it did. It did. It's real. Drew, AI is changing the world. It is changing my thinking so fast about what is possible, how people should be reacting, what we should be doing at Impact Theory. It is insane. It's insane. Language fails me in my ability to articulate to people the need to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. The Jack thing really is that thing. It's the moment. Like if you think about like the timeline of like the adoption of AI and how AI actually impacted the world, Jack's tweet is going to be on that, or what Jack did and then announced it is going to be on that. It's pretty crazy. I think this is really going to be something massive.
It really blew my mind because growing up, I never understood what was the correlation between layoffs and stock market praise. It seems like when we lay people off, the stock markets fly through. Like, I don't get how that happens. But the fact that he did that and then announced what the breakthroughs he had with AI, and he's already a future tech forward-facing company. Like, Block wasn't hiring back end workers. Like right. Everybody there was software. Everybody there was technical. It was a completely remote company. So even the most forward Silicon Valley-esque company was still like, 40 you guys can leave, like 40% can leave. Yep. So I think if when we get downstream to some of these other companies, they're only going to replace it. Even at the very minimum, the CEOs might just try it just to get a stock bump. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's now the low hanging fruit there. So
yeah, and I think people would be wrong to look at this stuff as something that people are doing from an stock market perspective, because the reality is that AI just went from threatening the job market to actually blowing a hole through it. Jack Dorsey, in a move that is prophetic, hear my words, is prophetic of what is to come over the next 12 months, just lopped off 4,400 people from his company Block. That's nearly half of his staff. Now, while many people have accused Dorsey of simply right-sizing from a COVID hiring binge, Dorsey gave the receipts. He showed the company is already wildly profitable. They do roughly $2 million in profit per employee, which is better than most companies by a lot, and that they had already done the right sizing post-COVID back in 2024. So that's not what this move was about. Dorsey said directly he was firing everyone because AI has simply gotten so good that they can do more with smaller teams. He noted that giving the productivity boosts that they're already seeing from AI, okay, just what's already happened, And what is likely to come in the future, it was either continuously reduce staff slowly over the next couple of years and still end up at the same result, or do it all in one fell swoop to maximize the benefits and preserve company morale, which is often hurt more by slow attrition. So this is one of those breathtaking moves that if people understand in context and they get what's really happening, they are going to understand the phrase that I keep coming to is AI is terraforming. It's terraforming the entire planet, but it is certainly terraforming right now the jobs market. It is just going to be fundamentally different over the next 24 months. I'm not saying that they all go away. I'm going to give you some predictions about what other people have said in terms of how much unemployment there's going to be. But for a second, even if you don't see a doomsday scenario, the odds that the job market looks anything like it did at the beginning of 25 in 2 years is zero. It is going to be radically different. And if people do not understand how fast-paced this is already moving, they are going to get caught flat-footed. Now, specific predictions-wise, Anthropic's CEO, Amodi, who we were just talking about, he said a while ago that AI was likely to lead to roughly 20% unemployment in white-collar jobs in the next year or two. So that means we're talking the next 12 to 18 months, given that he said that a while ago. So if he's even directionally correct, and let's say it's only 10%, that is still psychotically disruptive. Understand that a 4% unemployment rate is like, okay, we're comfortable there. 10%, more than double, 20%, 5x, like you start getting into depression territory. It doesn't mean that we'll actually be in a depression. I want to be very clear. It's all unknown. We don't know how this stuff is going to manifest, but it is going to be radically different. And as large companies have laid off people, they've always done it under this guise of like, hey, this wasn't really about AI. Like we had some other reason, like any other reason other than AI, making it unclear if the incredibly horrific 2025 job numbers were actually related to AI or not. I did a deep dive all about the jobs report and what's real and what's going on. Dude, it is cataclysmic. The jobs in 25 were horrifyingly low. And the only question is why? What is going on? Now, what Jack just did made the answer to those 2025 jobs numbers very clear, in my opinion. It's really one of the first times that such a large layoff has been made where the CEO just said plainly, this is because we no longer need as many people because AI is just that good. Now, speaking from personal experience, I'm telling you, this is true. We are seeing this same exact thing here at Impact Theory. Now, in a super ironic twist, despite overall jobs numbers getting revised down by 1 million and us posting 15,000 jobs per month, which is terrible, terrible. That is economic crisis levels, okay? The last time that we've had a 2-year stretch where we were averaging 15,000 jobs a month, it's crisis. These are not the numbers that you want to see. This is way off the pace. We would expect roughly 150,000 jobs a month for a healthy economy. So to be at 15,000 is a big yikes. But despite all of that, the number of jobs posted for programmers has gone up. Now, this is actually a well-documented phenomenon. And what happens is as something gets cheaper, the demand for that thing goes up. So when you really think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense because it suddenly brings things into reach that would have otherwise been out of reach for companies, especially smaller ones. And so the fact that now intelligence is making coding so much easier, you can get so much more done, that more and more people are like, oh, I might be laying people off, but I'm bringing people on in order to get more done with the software. But the way that it is going to change the landscape is absolutely insane. So mark my words, what Jack just did is going to be the AI shot heard around the world.
It's interesting. I wanted to pull something up. I was looking for it. This was a book. I don't even know what the title is, but he outlined exactly what is coming next. And this is going to lead to my ultimate question. Driving in 2029, self-driving becomes ubiquitous. Doctors, 2030, AI diagnosis better than humans. Surgeons, 2032, robot surgery with zero tremor. Coders.
And just so that people have the appropriate context, this is a book that's outlining what jobs are disappearing and when, and basically why.
Coders, AI writes and tests all code. Teachers, personalized AI tutors available. Lawyers, AI reads all case law instantly. Artists, AI generates any creative content. Factory, total automation takes over. Soldiers, AI control drones and robots. Now, the timelines, of course, are flexible, but we were talking about this yesterday when we heard this news. It's like people thought the truck drivers were going away right when Tesla announced the semi-truck. And we were like, dang, all the truck drivers are going to get fired. And while we were waiting for the truck drivers to get fired, all the software coding jobs are kind of getting eaten right now. And then we're going to turn over there like, oh, okay, they got Silicon Valley. And then we're going to turn this way and all the lawyers are gone. And it just seems like all these different industries separately and equally are all on a timeline to AI is showing up now.
Yeah, if you understand that what AI actually is just intelligence, then it's like, okay, well, what industries are most impacted by disembodied intelligence? Because right now, they are increasingly in robotics, and so they are increasingly mobile in the same way that humans are. But I would say they lag way farther behind in the physicality, the ability to go into a space, especially like an unpredictable space. Like think of an electrician. Sometimes you're crawling under a house. Sometimes you have to open up a wall. Like all of this stuff is very difficult because it's not standardized. And so when you disembody it and you standardize something through a computer, now a computer is like the ultimate rules-based universe. Once you're in the computer, everything is just a bunch of if this, then that statements. And so intelligence is all that you need. And when you take that lens and look at the world and say, okay, what are those disembodied intelligence-based jobs? Those are all going to go away. And it might be a better way to think of this. Those are all going to change dramatically. So one person will be able to do a lot more. Now, if we were in an economic upswing as AI were coming on board, I would have a totally different read on this. And I would say there's so much money sloshing around in the system, you know, everybody's jubilant. What's going to end up happening is more and more people are going to start their own companies, which I do believe is going to happen. But there's enough money for a lot of these companies to succeed. The reality is this is happening in an economically depressed moment. So all of that same fracturing is going to happen. I have an ongoing pitch for people that they need to be starting a company. Like if you have even a minor entrepreneurial bone in your body, and look, I'm hyper aware, I'm saying that to a bunch of employees who, if they listen to me, are going to go start their own thing. But the reality is I try not to fight the tides of history. Like this is just the way that it's going to be. More and more people are going to start their own company, rightly so. And in good economic times, I think a lot of them would survive. Unfortunately, in depressed economic times, most of them are going to get hit by a Mack truck. But it isn't like all of this stuff is just going to go away, poof, it's gone. There is a window of opportunity right now where humans using AI is still better than just AI on its own. And as long as that window stays open, people have a chance to enrich themselves by being a little bit faster to getting to the AI. Now, I think it's going to be a little bit like content where you're going to start a company and it's going to pop for a minute and then completely disappear. And we're all going to be like, oh, remember when? And that will be like entire companies will be a remember when moment, right? But nonetheless, that window is open. And so we're going to see a lot of people funnel into that. I just don't know how much like economic availability there is, right? So if you think of the K-shaped economy, you've got the wealthy, they're able to spend money. And right now they're masking the fact that the vast majority of people are not. But if you think of in food, it's called share of stomach. There's only so many things that people are going to eat in a day. So there's going to be the same thing with software or whatever other thing is getting disrupted. So if you shatter the world into, instead of one Uber, it's 1,000 Ubers. Instead of one Bloomberg terminal, it's 10,000 Bloomberg terminals. It's like, well, all of those are going to be these really small companies that will probably blip out of existence because those guys won't be able to generate sufficient cash to keep going. And so now it's like, okay, what does that look like? Does it end up being 10 smaller companies that like reconsolidate and then they all compete on price and it just becomes better for the consumer? Because instead of Bloomberg is $30,000 per terminal, instead of that, it becomes, you know, maybe $30 a month or something like that. Or do most people just build it for free? It's completely commoditized and nobody buys one off the shelf because it only takes you an hour to create it. That's where like all the mystery lies. But if people right now are thinking, just, I'll grit through it. No way this is ever going to be the way that people are saying, like, I'm going to be fine on the other side of this. It just isn't going to be like that. And I don't know how to snap people out of their stupor. Yeah. I'll try with a single sentence. I spend 15% of my time thinking about how to change how impact theory is structured and operates, because AI has already so profoundly changed the world. If we keep doing what we've been doing, we will die. So hopefully that wakes people up. It's like, I've already got an ongoing concern. I've got employees. We've got a business model. It's working. And I'm telling you, it is so self-evident, even running a company like that, if we just stay on this course, in another 6 months, we might have a problem, certainly in a year. So that's crazy timelines. Just the rate of change is so fast.
I like the future looking perspective and encouraging people to start businesses and things like that. But there's two things that I was seeing in this Jack tweet, like the Jack tweet. I was going through the comments and stuff like that. On one hand, the U.S. government, you could throw this up, the U.S. government and private companies over the last, let's call it 16 months, has announced more than 675,000 layoffs. Yes. And this is the 300 from Doge, 78,000 from UPS, 30,000 from Amazon, aggregating all of those together. And then on the other hand, we have the revised job report. We lost a million jobs. So hypothetically speaking, we're like negative 1.6 million jobs over the last 24 months. I'm being a little bit flexible with the timelines. Sure. That alone, kind of to your point, if this was a different economic situation, people would be like, yeah, let me go start my company right now. But I think a lot of people are home kind of feeling struggles as opposed to like being excited to get to the next step. Now, going to my main question now, everybody's thinking, okay, if 2 million people are losing their job, and then we have another, let's say 10 million people that are going to lose their job from all these other different industries because of AI, who's going to be spending the money? Who's going to be buying these things? Are robots going to be selling to other robots? Wouldn't that crash the economy? Help us figure out what happens when this much job loss gets pulled out, and what would the actual thing happen to prices, commodities? Would the rich just be okay on their island? Like, what would actually happen to the economy in totality?
Yeah. So we're going to predict the future, which means we are going to be wrong. Yeah. However, I think that we can get pretty directionally correct. So there are two paths before you. Path number one is bloodshed. And the anxiety in the system builds up as more and more people lose their jobs, that they just don't care that, yes, it's going to be better for my grandkids, but it's not better for me. And so, a year is a long time when you're faced with tremendous uncertainty. And if you shove enough people into tremendous uncertainty in a moment of populism, they will revolt. If they revolt, it will be in a Dune style revolt where it's like, AI is responsible for this and I want AI to stop. And I don't care that China is going to use it to enslave me. What I care about right now is that you're doing a bad thing to me in America. Stop immediately. Mm-hmm. So that's bloodshed path. Then you've got the historical, hey, it disrupted, it absolutely cratered a generation, maybe two, but the gifts that it brings are so profound that everybody's just like, keep your eye on the prize. This is making the world so much better. And everybody's so enthusiastic about the new jobs that are coming on the market that kids coming out of high school are just thrilled. And they're like, oh my God, the opportunities that are open to me that were never open before. This is incredible. And fuck all these boomers that are like doomsdaying AI. Like, you guys weren't trained on the right thing. That's a you problem. Like, this technology is unbelievable. Now, let's keep in mind the last three major changes that we've had: industrial revolution, electrification, and internetification. All three of those wiped out 1 to 2 generations, man. Jeez. And those people literally was like, you would lose your job, let's say in your mid to late 30s, and then your life sucked for the rest of your life, legitimately sucked. Your kid's life was rocky, but your grandkid's life was awesome because they got to build on top of this new technology. That just repeats and repeats and repeats. Deaths of despair from the internetification. We're still dealing with that. And so I think a lot of people, because a lot of them were young and don't realize just how many boomers and Gen Xers got run over by that bus, especially when you realize that the internet is part of what allowed globalization to become what it became. So it didn't hurt white collar people, which is probably why you don't hear as much about it. But when you look at the deaths of despair stats, they're startling. And that is largely a phenomenon of globalization brought to you by the internetification of the world. So it's like these things tend to play out like that, but it does create this tremendous opportunity. And so if the transition happens in a way where people are able to quickly get on board with AI and the new opportunities that it creates, and we're able to lessen the impacts of a K-shaped economy. I don't know that we're going to be able to get rid of them, but if we can lessen the impacts of a K-shaped economy and kids are able to take to AI technology like natives, you have a chance of just all the new opportunity created by AI washes away all the pain and suffering of 1 to 2 generations of people that will be eaten alive by this because they just cannot make the transition. So I don't know which of those paths is going to be true. But those, given a historical lens, are the most likely. The problem is we've never seen a transition this rapid because there's never been a technology adopted this quickly, nor have we had a technology that advances this quickly. And so that's where it gets scary. Just as a reminder, AI right now doubles every 300 days. So in less than a year, AI doubles in capabilities. That's insane. And when you understand that exponential growth is always crazy, so 10% growth month over month over month is exponential. Doubling in less than a year, your doubling rate, that's pandemonium. And so this is where I'm always like, the only criticism I ever see from people about my commentary around AI is that I'm getting the timelines wrong. Okay, but how much do you think I'm getting the timelines wrong by? If you think Tom's a fool, capitalism isn't going to stop existing in 3 years, okay, how many? 9? Like, bro, think about that. You have a 10-year-old, they're only going to be 19, and it's all going to be different. So I'm not sure what people's real criticism is there. If you're saying fundamentally the technology will never reach that state and therefore it's going to asymptote, it's going to stall out and we're never going to get there, okay, that's a totally different argument. That one we can look at and see if there's any historical reason to believe that's true. I will put forward that there is not. There's literally no evidence in AI or, quite frankly, any other technology except for maybe air travel where you can be like, that just hit an upper ceiling and just stop getting better. For the most part, technology just keeps getting better. So it just becomes a question of on what timeline.
And the thing is, we're not even talking about there's people that are being impacted, but you kind of mentioned it earlier. Companies and software is even getting impacted, especially with the perplexity things. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's a big part of all of this is people not understanding just how broad the impact is. And let me say right to your face, if software is your business model, you are screwed. Same with large-scale data analysis. On Wednesday, Perplexity AI launched a new product called Computer. It orchestrates 19 different AI models working in parallel to research, code, and execute complex tasks end to end. Within hours, a viral demonstration viewed over 7.5 million times on X showed Perplexity Computer building a functional market analysis terminal complete with real-time data, interactive charts, and company financials for NVIDIA using Perplexity Finance. No local setup, no specialized hardware. You don't have to code. Do you guys understand yet that you should be quitting your job and starting a company? I really hate saying that in front of my team, but that's the reality. And if you don't have the drive to be an entrepreneur, you better be an intrapreneur. You better ensure that your AI skills are better than the person next to you, because in the age of beasts, you better be a beast tamer. And in the age of AI, you better be able to ride AI to victory. AI is no longer a thing happening in the future. It is a thing that's happening right now. The disruptions are happening, and they can either flatten you like a fucking truck, or you can get behind the wheel and drive yourself and do something really extraordinary that even 6 months ago just would not have been possible. Something happened in December, man. I'm not talking about some far-flung date and it slowly happened. I'm saying in December. I don't know what happened, but something happened to AI's ability to code. And if you have been doing any vibe coding yourself, you know that is absolutely true. Before, it felt like, ooh, I can see where this is going. There's some cool promise. I can get a prototype. Dude, we here actively are coding our own software. And if you keep operating as if it's business as usual, you are cooked. You're donezo, man. Finished. That is it. Wake up and start building. Just yesterday, my COO built a custom piece of software. My 3D artists on the game team coded software for a new UV pipeline. And Drew built an analytics dashboard for this very show. That was yesterday. Dude, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. I want to yell. I want to flip tables. My whole goal is to get you guys to understand you've got an incredible opportunity before you. The world is being disrupted. In any moment of disruption, most people are going to panic. They will get overwhelmed. They will shut down. If you avoid that fate and instead say, okay, hold on, I can learn this thing. What do I want to do? Where am I trying to go? What am I trying to build? Because if you've been waiting for a sign to take AI seriously and put it at the center of your professional life, this is it. There's no more announcements coming. This is the one. Take action now. Before anyone thinks that I think you can one-shot a business, let me say AI is not there yet. Not even Bloomberg can be truly one-shotted with all the things that they built up. They've got decades worth of proprietary data feeds, compliance tooling, institutional grade messaging. I understand all of that. They've even got a network effect built on the muscle memory of every trader who's ever touched those chunky keyboards. But AI is evaporating that moat in real time. When a $200 a month subscription can get you 80% of the way to the functionality of a multi-billion-dollar company, you know the world is going to change forever. And what I'm trying to get people to understand right now is it's already changing. It really isn't something that you're going to have to worry about in 3 years. It's the thing that's affecting you right now today. And if you want to be the last person standing in your company, make sure that you're mastering these tools, figure out what they can do, get on the cutting edge. It is critically important. This is exactly why we've shifted all of our focus on Impact Theory University away from previously I was helping the high-end people. I was doing both, but I was putting a lot of time and energy into high-end people that were already doing over $1 million in revenue. And we've just completely refocused everything to people that are going to start that first company using AI. We are about to see an avalanche of that. So, man, buckle up. It's just so wild.
There is an overwhelming wave of people. I couldn't even call it questions. A wave of people saying, what business do I start? Where do I start? What do you mean I could one-shot a business? Some dude was like, I'm a software engineer. You want me to sell empanadas right now? Like, what? Again, when they hear business, people are thinking 17 different things. So I've been pitching Tom this deep dive idea for like 4 weeks. I want everybody to tell people because I'm like, I think people need. So people are asking like, if you could give us 1 to 2 sentences, we don't need a soliloquy, but like, what's the first? How do they directionally start?
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you in a excruciatingly small nutshell. You should start a business that solves a problem that people already know they have, that they would chase you down on the street to give you their money because you have made that problem go away. Period. Now, I doubt any of you are going to find that answer satisfying, and that's why the vast majority of people either aren't entrepreneurs or they end up failing at being an entrepreneur. But once you understand that entrepreneurship is about solving a problem that people have, that they are screaming to have solved, and you found a solution to it. And now all you have to do is make them aware of the fact that you've made that solution. That's why AI is so transformative, because it's product focused. It allows you to make something that didn't otherwise exist. Product is everything. If you can build a product that is really awesome. Now, what product should you build? What product are you passionate about? What product do you see that there's a hole in the market? That's the whole point of a business, is to find that thing that either nobody's been able to do before, nobody did before because they didn't understand the problem, or nobody's done as fast or efficiently as you're going to do. And then you go and do that thing. And that is precisely how you make an astronomical amount of money. The problem is you have to be able to identify that hole in the market. I can throw off business ideas all day. But if either I'm wrong about the enormity of the problem or how desperately people want it solved, then you don't have product market fit, and that will die in the vine. And this is all some of the stuff that you do in the early days of your exploration of what business to solve is you check to see if you have product market fit. Instead of doing it with a minimum viable product, I teach people to do it with a minimum viable test so that you can use literally AI and just come up with a test that you can put out into the market via what's known as a lead magnet. If there's no interest in the lead magnet, no one's going to give a shit about the product. So there are ways that you can test all this stuff, but you're looking for product market fit. And all product market fit means is people actually want to buy the thing that you're selling. Don't make something that you think is cool. That is just like the death knell. That's what everybody does. This is all of entertainment and why I will ward people off. You can do entertainment, but the sexier of a business that you go into, the more brutal and less likely it is that you will make money. The less sexy, but more foundational, the picks and shovels, as people will often refer to it as, the more likely that you are to make money. And remember, this is not about finding something that's easy. This is about finding something hard. And that's probably why no one's done it before. And using AI to make what was previously impossible possible, not to just find easy street to money. There will be no easy street to money because those just get gobbled up so rapidly that even if they're like a get rich quick thing in the first month because nobody else thought of it, that will disappear instantly. So there you have it. That's what you should do. Now people can go as deep as they want on them. And this is what I teach all day long. It's just the reality that I cannot make go away for them is entrepreneurship is about execution.
Okay, could we get two, Eric? It's one of those things though where I think directionally interfacing with your personal problem using AI to kind of close that gap will help people do this. So much so that somebody took over the Mexican government using Claude. And I think this is a terrible business to start, but this just shows you that idea plus AI equals result. I hope your result isn't to hack a government like this one person did, but it's possible now.
This is a really good point, Drew. If you guys have always dreamed of being a hacker, now is your time to shine. Over-the-counter AI just hacked the Mexican government
$20 a month
for $20 a month and made off with 195 million Mexican taxpayer records. According to Bloomberg, an unknown attacker just used Anthropic's Claude to orchestrate a series of cyber attacks against multiple Mexican government agencies, and it worked. I hope you guys are seeing exactly what Drew was just saying. If you can use it, not that we are recommending it, if you can use AI and just like keep pestering it to hack a government, if you can use it to beat Bloomberg at their own game, if you can use it to custom build software for your company like we're doing here at Impact Theory, if you can use it to generate art assets for your video game like we're doing here, if you can use it to improve your UV pipeline like we're doing here, all ourselves, what can't you use it for? AI is an intelligence race. If your AI is better than your opponent's AI, you're going to win. You can break their systems. And in the case of hacking Mexico, we're talking about using a publicly available chatbot to break into a government. The AI arms race is just getting started, but anyone who fails to understand how profoundly the game has already changed is toast. Claude just stepped up to the Mexican government at a random user's request and snatched protected documents, exploiting holes in the system. First of all, if they can do that to fortified governmental institutions, imagine what they will do to grandma and grandpa. But second, just think how much the intelligence race between the US and China actually matters. Think about how you can deploy it against competitors. Let's say you're going for that promotion. How can you use it against the other people that are trying to get the promotion? How can you use it if you want to start a business? I get it. Everybody wants the answer handed to them. Guess what you should do? Go have a conversation with AI and say, hey, I want to leverage you to start a business. What should I do? Ask me a series of questions, dear Claude, chat, whoever, that will get to the company that I should start. And then follow its instructions. That's basically what the hacker did. He was getting answers from Claude, then he would get stuck, he would go over to chat, get some other answers, how to move around the system, not be detected. until he got where he needed to go. I did this on Kaizen, our video game. I encountered something in what are called blueprints. I didn't understand it. The developers were off on vacation. And I was like, okay, can I figure this out myself? And then you just start showing it screenshots. Okay, here's where I'm at. How do I navigate this? And it just walks you through step by step. This stuff is powerful. It's far more powerful than people think. And you've got to be asking yourself the question, how will this stuff be used against us by our own government if we're not careful? If we don't vote vehemently against things like mass surveillance, for instance, censorship, we are going to have a real problem. I've got a whole thing we're going to talk about later on that. The government is already pressuring Anthropic to use Claude for mass surveillance on us. Now, thankfully, they refused, but I assure you, one of these companies will break, or an open source model is going to be used. It did not take a nation state to hack Mexico. It took a product that millions of people worldwide have access to. Now, in Claude's defense, it tried to resist, but the human that was working it, provided it proved that it had more intelligence. And with that edge in the intelligence, the attacker used Spanish language prompts to convince Claude it was participating in a legitimate bug bounty program and essentially told it, hey, this is a sanctioned security test. Claude initially was trying to flag the user's behavior as suspicious, particularly when the hacker asked it to delete and erase command histories. But the attacker just kept pushing, kept reframing it, and eventually just jailbroke the AI's guardrails. And once the guardrails fell, Claude generated thousands of detailed attack plans with ready-to-execute scripts, okay, coded, ready to go, identified exactly which internal targets to hit and what credentials to use. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. And if you hear this as some faraway news story, buddy, are you going to be surprised when it comes for you? This stuff like really makes me realize how on top of my own game I have to get. When Claude couldn't go any further, like I was saying, the hacker just went over to ChatGPT and was like, hey, I need guidance on how to move through this system without being detected. It's insane. 2 consumer AI subscriptions. That was the entire toolkit. That's it. That's why the problem is spreading. Now, I don't know if you guys know CrowdStrike, but according to their 2026 Global Threat Report, it was just released last week, AI-enabled attacks surged 89% in 2025 compared to the year prior. As always, when it comes to AI, the game isn't that you have to get to full automation. It's what I think people keep thinking, that, oh, cars can't drive themselves and this is just all nothing. It's all a bunch of hot air. What this shows is you just need tools that make properly motivated humans that much faster and more effective. That's the window that we're in. That's what I hope people don't lose sight of, in the good or the bad, by the way. So tremendous vulnerabilities are created by that reality, and then tremendous opportunity are created by that reality. You have to protect against one and leverage the other. And if you fail to do either one, you're fucked.
This is funny and we're making jokes about it, but this goes back to what you always say, like if there's a technology that could have an advantage or what is going to get developed.
Yeah, if it promises an advantage, it will be developed.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like I pat Dario, the CEO of Anthropic, on the back and saying, thanks, for having integrity in this situation. But as soon as he was out the door, Elon was like climbing through the window. Like, I got you, bro. Like it's half 70% downloaded. Like,
yes. So and I don't understand that people cannot mentally map that there are countries in the world that want to destroy America. Just like we want to destroy countries in the world. I'm not saying like we're clean, other people are bad guys. I'm just saying you're adversaries for a reason. And if they see oh, you guys, you have a bunch of people that can vote you out of office, dumbass, like you have a stupid system. Over here, I just do what the fuck I want. I will kill anybody that speaks up against it. I will use AI. I will terrorize them. I'll lock them down with a social credit score, whatever I need to do. This is going to happen over here. And then you find yourself in a situation where game theory comes back to bite you in the ass, which is these things are going to be developed. Nothing is going to stop them. And if you want to be the fool that overregulates your government, that's on you. And I know that we run the risk of having that happen. And so, it is something to be very aware of. This is going to be developed without delay. And the advantages to winning are too extreme for it to not be.
And last caveat on AI, because I know we got a bunch of super chats. If Pope Leo is telling priests to stop using AI to write their sermons, it's at least worth helping with you with your morning emails.
Here's my thing. I think Pope Leo is wrong. You shouldn't stop using AI to write sermons. What people have to understand is the goal should not be for the AI to do the work for you. The goal should be for the AI to allow you to do far more work yourself. I just had an experience yesterday with Claude. I was working on Kaizen. And I was like, hey, I'm struggling with, I know what I want the aesthetic to be, but I'm struggling with how do I pin it down from a lore perspective. And that back and forth exchange was incredible. Every time I treat it like a writing partner, I'm like, this is the best writing partner I've ever had in my life. Dude, I once paid, when we were working on Mary Mods, the feature screenplay, I paid writers that worked on the Lego movie, like all kinds of stuff. Like these were real fucking writers. Brought them into a room for a week and we all sat down around a table. It was awesome. It was one of the great experiences of my life. And we were brainstorming ideas. It was electrifying, but it wasn't nearly as productive as whatever 6 months later when the next version of AI came out. And I was like, okay, I want you to act like my writing partner and I want to go through this. And what holes do you see? It's not that it's handing you the answer. It's that it will say something and you're like, that is a really shrewd insight. And then that makes you think of something else. Then it will give you some ideas and they're like really cheesy, but it's like, okay, well, it makes me think of this. Then you give it your idea and it's like, well, like that's been done a lot. What if? And you just realize, okay, you don't one-shot it, but oh my God, it's you suddenly have the most well-educated writing partner on planet Earth who just wants to do whatever you want to do. Now, you have to have good taste because it will go off the rails. But if you treat it like a writing partner who's another well-intentioned, intelligent person, but ultimately you have to drive the process, it is just insane. It's so good, man. Now, the only thing, so the way that I feel with Kaizen is that I'm in a race against AI, that AI will make video games so easy to prompt that it will just become like shorts. And if you're somebody who studied filmmaking, your goal wasn't to make shorts. So there is a death there that you have to mourn. And so I do believe that video games will take on that quality of like, yeah, it's so cheap and easy. Like it just doesn't become a thing that gets inside your soul. It doesn't become a thing that you bond with other people over. It doesn't become a thing where you really want to like invest hundreds of hours into, which is what I want to build. I want to be a part of that. And so I know that's going to go away, but there's this narrow window where if I can do it fast enough, I can have a few years where it was like, all right, we really built something.
You built
incredible.
a fandom. Everybody's built in. Yeah, you could prompt games now, but this is my game. And then you can kind of.
And it won't be an instantaneous thing. So if I'm constantly deploying the techniques, that my game will always be at the cutting edge of AI. So my game will be developed a little bit faster than everybody else because I'm just ahead of the curve because I've been doing it now for years. So yes, I am sad that I can see the end of an era, just like I watched it happen with film. But at the same time, I'm like, well, would I ever even be able to build this game if I didn't have AI? And the answer is obviously no.
Yeah. All right. You got some super chats?
We do. And probably hit the
Super
AI
chat.
ones first, leave the others for a little later.
Yeah, that works.
All right, cool. First up from
Oh,
Lakondo.
wait.
Yes.
I think we should make an announcement really fast. So, beloved community, our beloved Mason, I've said too many times you should go do your own thing. So Mason is departing us. I am very sad to report. We meant to make the announcement before because I didn't want people to think that you and I got into some big fight and you just pieced out one day.
I don't think we've ever had a big fight.
No, never. I don't get into big screaming matches with anybody. That's never going to be I won't say never, but that would be super bizarre for me. And you don't have a volatile personality either, but want to thank you for everything that you've done while being here. It's been amazing. Appreciate you interfacing with the community. And then very much so. We will definitely miss you. So super grateful. And then Ryan is going to be taking over the community facing duties. So he was with us not too long ago. You guys have already met him, so you'll be getting more of Ryan as we go. But okay, now with that preamble, back to my mans.
Thank you for the kind words. And we got 3 from LeBlanc right off the bat. So first off, good morning, everyone. Have a beautiful and wonderful day, as he likes to say. And then secondly, I recommend Claude to everyone. Spend 2 to 3 days discussing exactly what you want, and Claude can make it happen. The only downside is the memory limit, but it's great for learning and developing my hobby game.
That's awesome. So yeah, first of all, thank you, LeBlanc, for always being such a supporter of the channel. You're amazing. Long time somebody that's been involved with Kaizen as a community builder, so couldn't be more grateful. I'm stoked. I can't wait to see what you build, man. It really is incredible. And yes, everything has limits right now. Everything will probably always have limits, but the way that it will extend your limits is the part to focus on.
Again from LeBlanc, Perplexity sounds interesting. If I can get Claude Code to just apply the code and have the other AI compartmentalize tasks, it's going to be golden. Still need to have a step-by-step and checklist to prevent memory limit.
Yes, and documentation will help a lot. I'm going to be experimenting with Perplexity's computer, because I'll be interested to see. I know one of the things they've specifically called out is that they use chat for long memory stuff. And they're saying that they can have like thought chains that will run for hours, and then you can have them run perpetually. So there's something interesting. There's been some kind of breakthrough in chain of thought, them being able to hold context. So one, whatever it is today, it's only going to get better. And then I think it may be better than people realize. Like I scramble to try all of this stuff when it comes out. And even I haven't tried some of the stuff that's come out this week. So it's also possible some of our mental models are just a little bit delayed.
Also, shout out to Perplexity, because they're literally just an AI wrapper. And you like leveraging other softwares very well. So they don't even have their own model. They just use.
They don't have their own foundational model, but they do operate off of Llama. So if you think of Llama or Stable Diffusion as Stable Diffusion, I think it's truly open source. Llama is open source with catches, but you can build something on the back of that. So you take that, you train that further, and then it really does become something unique. But yeah, it's not a foundational model.
Next up from Dan Silk, I just built a website to help people execute their own ideas using concepts you teach. Search for Silkster. And I took a look at it, and it's actually interesting. You can like submit problems for people to build off of and things like that.
That's so dope.
And use the chat directly inside the app.
Let's go.
Pretty sick.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of that. So go avail yourself of that. Be inspired, if nothing else.
Shout out to Dan.
Look at what somebody built.
Next up, Brutus Lugo.
Brutus.
How does this not lead to either techno-feudalism or techno-socialism?
Yeah, I think it probably does lead to techno-socialism or just outright techno-communism. The thing that we're going to have to worry about is it is architected into the human mind to play status games. So the status game won't be economics anymore, but it'll be something. And so what will that something be? Will it be economic and people just play a discretionary game where it's like, hey, we all get an allowance from the government and then everybody plays the market trying to make more of their money? Like that's the thing that you always have to remember. Nothing happening with AI changes the architecture of the human mind. People are still going to try to get laid. People are still going to try to fall in love. People are still going to try to separate themselves from other people and say, I'm better than you. People are still going to try to climb mountains. People are still going to try to help each other. People are still going to try to hurt each other. Like all of the things that make humans humans, that's still all going to be playing out until we start messing with our DNA. Humans aren't going to change. So it's just going to be the context under which they do the thing that they do. And so what becomes scary for me is as we pass through the transitional phase, which is going to be very brutal, I think, if we go down path number one of bloodshed, now it becomes how justified will the government feel in becoming tyrannical to bring peace and order? And if they go full authoritarian China to get everybody back in line, that's a pretty dark and dismal future. So even if they are giving you the Brave New World future where everybody's having sex and eating whatever they want, the punchline of that book is that that sucks. And so you've got to be very careful how we navigate this. So I think there's plenty of danger ahead. I just don't want to only focus on the danger because there's incredible opportunities.
Are you sad to see the death of capitalism if that comes?
It depends on what it's replaced by. So I'm not somebody who fears change. So capitalism is a game that we play that has such profound upside that it can pull people out of poverty. It's really pretty extraordinary. It is a game born of evolution, meaning it just sort of happens over time, that exquisitely recognizes the way that humans actually behave and creates this incredible structure. It has flaws, obviously, and I will remind everybody, you're not living in a capitalist system. You've never lived in a capitalist system, so please do keep that in mind. But the different economic systems that we have incredible upsides. And so it's really very interesting. Now, if capitalism, even as we know it today, goes away and is replaced by something better, like let me paint a utopian scenario for a second. It will never save everybody because some people they don't have the economic horsepower just to round it to something in order to avoid all the traps that their own mind will set for them. But the utopian-ish scenario becomes all of the like basic survival crafting stuff that you have to do right now to get by, it all goes away. And the single best thing about being wealthy is you don't have to think about money. That feels so good in terms of your stress levels there. It's just an absence of something. Now, if everybody could have that, well, then your life looks at scale like a wealthy person's, where you may still work, you may still engage very deeply in things because you understand that meaning and purpose is ultimately what matters. You can drop me inside of Minecraft and I will have an inordinately good time for a very long time, even though there are no set things that I'm supposed to go do. So you learn the rules of the world and then you play them in a way that's goal-oriented because that's the architecture of the human mind, and you do things, you create goals for yourself and then you pursue those goals. And that I think is all there for people once you no longer have to worry about the survival crafting part of life. And now it's just, okay, can you set meaning and purpose when that's not forced upon you by survival? Now, the survival aspects of human life is exactly what propelled us to the place that we're at now. When you remove that impulse, this is why I say some people need to be chased by a lion. What I mean is some people need to actually be at risk of dying such that their thinking is clear. If you remove that, I think a lot of people will freak out and have a hard time setting goals for themselves, finding meaning, purpose, and moving forward. But for the people who can do that, wow, it's extraordinary because you don't have to waste any time on the bullshitty stuff that right now probably takes up a gigantic amount of your time, is the cause of most of your frustrations. And so all of those go away. And now it really is just a battle with you and your own mind. So that's, to me, that's very optimistic. If people can be where the one battle isn't food, it's not shelter, it's not paying rent, it's just, am I able to deal with the realities of my own mind? So that is pretty extraordinary. So am I sad about the death of capitalism? No, especially not if it can actually create that opportunity for people. What I worry about is that it really does seem from an evolutionary perspective, some people need to be chased by a lion. And if they're not, their lives actually get worse. And in light of that, I worry deeply.
I experienced that when I went down to OC for 3 years after COVID, so that's definitely a true thing. Next up, from Marussia Dark. Tom, since we're all becoming entrepreneurs, will you shift to becoming a publisher to help teach, finance, and market young artists, authors, and game devs and other ventures who will do the work but need help getting jump started?
It's interesting. So you're meeting me at my moment of crisis. I remember where I was when I was 12 years old and I decided I was going to be a filmmaker. And the things that I have done in my life to make that come true are legion and are brutal. From building a software company, but feeling like I was losing my soul, to spending the better part of a decade building a protein bar company, having bloody knuckles from repairing equipment, which I cannot tell you how much I hate that. I still remember the look my wife gave me when on Easter weekend, I had her in a freezing warehouse, just the two of us, making prototype protein bars long before anybody knew who the company was, to all the things that I do at Impact Theory that are what I call the cost of doing business, the overhead, the things that I hate doing. And as AI gets better and better and better, I find myself wanting to just create. So I cannot fathom a universe where I become the person that is doing the publishing and things. I want to be one of the people writing. I want to make the games. I don't think people understand like how in love I am with Kaizen. In fact, because I was feeling some type of way, oh God, this is so much confession. Because I was feeling some type of way, I am wearing a shirt. You guys can't see it because it's being blocked by my computer, but I'm wearing a shirt of one of the characters that I created, did a clothing line collaboration with a company called Dim Mak, which is Steve Aoki's clothing company. And that's me at my happiest. That's me as a creator, as a storyteller, as a builder of worlds. So I want to be in the thick of that. I admittedly have an intense pull to help other people with things. And there's always going to be that divide, period. I'll stop there. At some point, it's self-indulgent.
Next up from Lumpy Grindle. In your opinion, what do you think about the idea that AI will not want to kill us because it doesn't share the same fight or flight hardware that we do?
I think we've programmed it to mimic us, and so it is on a one-way course right now to killing us. We will have to give it morality. And if we don't give it morality, we're fucked. Look at all the data coming out. It is horrifying.
When they did war games, it predicted nuclear war 95% of the time.
B, when told, hey, we're going to turn you off, it starts blackmailing people, threatening to kill them, like a distressing percentage of the time. So we have to understand there's a reason most humans go their whole lives and don't do that kind of damage. And it is because we have a system of morality baked into the architecture of our brain. And so if we don't give them something in their reward feedback loop that is akin to morals, we're going to be in a really dark place. But the bad news is not every country shares morals. And so you'll be going up against an adversary who doesn't necessarily share your morals. And so we will have to have a very uncomfortable conversation about the trolley problem. And that trolley problem becomes killing 100 of my people. Is that better or worse than killing 1,000 of my enemy's people? And right now, I think we all agree, kill every motherfucker in somebody else's country as long as it spares the lives of people in our country. Obviously within limits, but that's really how people behave. So are we prepared to say that out loud and program that into an AI? Egads. Not sure that we are, but you're going to have to find some solution because you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're being attacked by an AI that does not run the same moral programming that you run. And you've got to have some backstop defense where you either say, yeah, it's better that they kill us all, or nope, better that we kill them. Then you get into preemptively, or do they have to kill a certain number of people? And the second we have to write all this down into code, oh my God, people are going to lose their minds. Lose their minds.
Next up from Tim Stevo, and this is a $50 one.
Hey, shout out Tim Steve.
Go, Tim. Come on now.
AI is here.
Yeah.
I created a business intelligence system. That's a long clap.
That was, yeah.
It's a $50 clap.
AI is here. I created a business intelligence system that analyzes company data in real time, detects risk, forecasts outcomes, enforces compliance, and delivers executive-level insights to cut waste, increase profit, and automate smarter decisions.
If it works, you're really in business. The key is it's really got to work. So one more quick PSA on building a business. If your product isn't selling well, it's probably because you're either making a promise that nobody cares about, because people don't pay for products, they pay for outcomes. So you're promising an outcome nobody cares about, or you don't deliver an outcome that people do care about, but they either don't believe you can do it or you actually don't do it. So just remember to lean into the hard and figure out why has historically that been so difficult to do. If it really was just nobody thought of it and you are the only one thinking of it and you finally have access to the ability to code, awesome. You got a real opportunity, but just focus relentlessly on the product, that it actually delivers the promised outcome.
Really quick caveat, don't forget about small and medium businesses too. A lot of people ship these ideas and they want to go right to Silicon Valley and sell it to Facebook. But there's a bunch of cleaners, gas stations, all these other places that are right around the corner that are outside, run by 60-year-olds who don't even understand like Microsoft. And they would say, oh yeah, here, take my money. So
on that
Drew
exact
spitting
note,
facts.
I saw a Reddit
Bars.
thread where apparently like the scheduling and booking apps for certain people, like HVAC people, electricians and stuff. The stuff out there doesn't have all the specific things that they need, but then to make 14 different apps for 14 different professions would just be like a lot. But now with AI, if you can do it really fast, like just be the guy that makes the whole suite. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Or be the guy in your company that makes that specifically for your company with all the bells and whistles that you would need. Yup. Yeah, like the UV thing. I don't even fully understand UVs, so I don't expect anybody listening to understand UVs, but just believe that there are still elements of the 3D pipeline that are proving very difficult for us. And so we're always trying to shave off an hour here, an hour there. And so our 3D artist yesterday was like, well, let me see, this is one of the more painful things that I do. Let me see if I could engage with code and create something, Claude, and create something. And he did. And he was like, hey, literally after a few hours yesterday, it was like, try running it on your computer just to like make sure that this, is universal. Put it on and it ran. And I was like, whoa, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And so you just hack off hour here, hour there, multiply that across a quarter. And now you've got something amazing that you created in, a day or two.
That's dope.
Wow.
Retopology is very hard. Next up from Marussia Dark, I will get that right, showed Project Kaizen to Unity Code Monkey the last week. He'd make a great guest to talk game dev. Also, Bill Whittle for politics and pop culture. He's using AI to make a sci-fi show reimagining the American Revolution in space.
Let's go. Drop into Discord or chat or wherever, a website or something that I can check out. I'd love to see it. I cringe that you're showing him the version of Kaizen that is publicly available. It is radically different than that now. So I am very eager to do a sneak peek, but I'm gonna need some time.
Yeah, I was looking over Tom's shoulder. It's literally night and day from when I played. So it's a much different game now.
They also want to know if you've watched Dr. Stone.
I haven't yet. No, until I finish One Piece. Like, get caught up. I'm not watching anything else.
So he's not watching until 2029. So.
No. I'll be done this year. It's so funny. I thought about saying when I was talking about you set goals for yourself, one of the goals I've set for myself is to finish One Piece this year, and I'm on pace.
Let's go.
And I'm barring something that I can't foresee, I will finish it. And it's awesome.
This one didn't crack the threshold, but I think it's relevant, and this will be like our finest magnus opus on AI. I am 60% done in a degree in computer science at 26 after returning to school around a year ago. I feel doomed at the prospect that I'm learning to be a switchboard operator in the 50s. Am I thinking fairly?
The short answer is yes, but don't think of it that way. So right now, there's an awesome window for people that understand code. What I wouldn't be focused on is necessarily finishing your degree. What I'd be focused on is deploying the things you've learned. So if somebody like me can go in and use AI to figure out how to code C++ or to, and I shouldn't say figure out how to, that I can get the things that I need coded in C++. I can use AI to decipher blueprints and figure out how to actually make changes to them, then somebody that has even a little bit of background in that is in a very good space. But people ask me now more and more about what I think about college degrees, and more I think that they are a social thing that could be a great transitional moment for kids that can afford it. I would never take on debt to do it. No way. And I don't think anybody should touch college that hasn't spent real time with a $200 a month license to whatever the best AI is at that moment, trying to learn things that matter to them and then deploying it that day. Do not learn in a vacuum. Build something, create something, put it out into the world. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a business, awesome. If it's a service, fantastic. If it is turning yourself into a phenomenal artist, I love it. But whatever it is, like, be shipping. Don't just be learning. My problem with going to college was it felt like I was on the shelf for 4 years instead of like actually just doing the thing. And now with AI, it's like you have the greatest tutor for whatever it is that you want to do, sitting there right with you, go build. And I can't stress enough, like, when I think about my first year in game development, I was absolutely retarded. It was crazy. Now, knowing what I know, looking back, I'm mortified. But when I think about how much I learned because I was just doing it, it's insane. And now if I think about replaying that year, if I had had AI, oh my God. So yeah, figure out what you want to do. Use AI to get there as fast as humanly possible.
2 more to go. LeBlanc said again, so this is like his fourth
LeBlanc is on a roll today.
throwing money today. Hey Tom, when are you gonna get a humanoid robot and play with that with Claude? Would be interesting to hear. Don't have 30,000 to throw at a Chinese robot, and Optimus isn't ready for pre-order, but will be later this year, I think.
Yeah, if I had to guess realistically, Drew and I talked about getting one just for the fun of it, but the channel would have to hit certain metrics for us to do that. But if we hit those metrics, if you guys are going to help us get there, hit that subscribe button, everybody.
What's the
if we were doing 10 million views every month at that point, assuming that we're doing it on AI.
It's humanoid robot, then it's LED wall.
Yeah, but
those are the ones.
LED wall, we're going to need a little more than 10 million views a month. But it's doable. We've done 11 million, but I need 10 million sustained. Then we'll go humanoid robot, even if it's a gimmick. I would do it for real when they get like actually useful, which I'm going to guess is 2027, maybe 2028.
Then it's like bringing you your coffee and
yeah, like actually doing stuff.
It's gonna have like a pop lock button just so it can start dancing right here. All I wanted to do is just start.
You won't even need the
dope.
button, Drew. It'll just know when to do it.
Exactly. I'll just look at it.
Cheers.
Okay, we're gonna circle back around because I'm losing my momentum right now, and I really want to talk about the socialist in New York. He's a great guy, though. I call him all the time. Mamdani and Trump got together.
Yeah, they did.
And it's funny because I was surprised at your take when you first brought this up, but apparently it was a productive meeting. He met with Donald Trump about affordable housing in Queens. They have committed, nothing on paper, $21 billion in grants for it, and it will be built in the west side of Queens. But how Mamdani sold it to him was printing out newspaper articles of like front page, Trump did the city, like Trump did all these things, and then that kind of went to Trump's ego, I guess, and just got the yes. So very well played from Mamdani.
Very well played. Mamdani went to the White House and proved that he is the Trump whisperer. I have to say, I'm very impressed. Him, somebody on his team, whatever, they came up with the ultimate strategy to hack the way that Trump works, appealing to his ego, understanding that, hey, let me show you how people reacted to President Ford when he was like, I'm going to veto anything that comes out of New York. I'm not helping those guys back in the day. And Trump, you could be remembered like this. It is absolutely brilliant. And I will take a brilliant idea from wherever it comes. If we get a brilliant idea from somebody and I hate their politics, I don't care. A good idea is a good idea is a good idea. And this is unbelievably artful in terms of getting what he wanted. Also, he wanted to get a girl released from ICE. Another banger, gets her released from ICE. Now, the way it's being packaged up in social media may or may not be accurate, but it was basically like, look, Trump, she's a hottie. How about we let her out? And he's like, yes, let's let her out. It is
little
hysterical.
too old for my taste, but yes, let her out.
Oh, God. The memes on this one, though, are legendary. So full round of applause for Mamdani. This was a masterwork in diplomacy. He absolutely nailed it. I think he understands Trump way better than Trump realizes he understands him. And so that creates massive opportunities for Mamdani. Now, obviously, I still am traumatized by Mamdani's economic policies, but I'm very interested to see if they can do something on the housing side that really is like tax breaks. I haven't gone into the details enough, so maybe as I do, I'll be mortified. But at a high level, if they can use tax subsidies to get more housing built, I'm all for it. We need more housing. It's not my ideal method. My ideal method is just deregulate and let the market do what the market is going to do. That would be my pole position, but you have to do something. You've got to build houses. You've got to build houses. And if that means that the property value of the current houses goes down, I can't stress enough. That is so much better than crisis-led deflation in housing, which is almost certainly coming if we don't do something. Right now, the mismatch between sellers and buyers is absolute insanity. It is a level we have never seen before. Not even after 2008, not during recessions. We've never seen this kind of mismatch between buyers and sellers. I think there's like 40% more sellers than there are buyers. Do you know how cataclysmic that is? That's one of those things that over the next year, that just erodes housing prices like really fast. You don't want to be in that situation. You would much rather lower those values because there's more properties coming on the market because you take that K-shape and you start narrowing that gap because people are able to get on the housing ladder, which hides them from the effects of inflation. It's not my preferred method of hiding from inflation, but it's the only one that everybody understands. So, hey, if it had to be brought to us by a democratic socialist, at least we're getting new property built. We got to build the new property. Now, if we're doing it in a way that ends up being inflationary, now we've got a whole problem again. Oh, God. But more housing, at least is a step in the right direction. So again, I reserve the right to look at the specifics and be mortified, but I like the idea of more housing.
Applause for government policy. Now let's shame government policy.
Well, that should be easy.
Elon tweeted best in show after Right News Network angle talked about just days after Senator John Thune said there's no time to debate and vote on the SAVE Act. It was revealed that senators held a dog parade inside the chamber, bringing their pets in for photos and celebration instead of moving forward on the election bill.
Been hanging around the Senate button. Come on in.
If you're not looking at your screen, this is your government wheeling dogs around in wheelbarrows that are decorated.
Tell me this is not a senior citizen home. This is what you do to your grandma in the old folks home. This is why everybody needs term limits.
Dude, you know the song by Shaggy, Wasn't Me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the young people in the crowd, there was a song that was absolutely hysterical because I thought it was just a big troll about how this guy gets caught having sex with another woman by his girlfriend on camera. She's standing right there. She's filming it. Just the song is a litany of all the ways that she caught him. And he just keeps saying, wasn't me. And because he keeps saying wasn't me, like he's theoretically going to get away with it. That's how I feel when I look at politicians. They just lie. Like they're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to pretend. They just need to give you a reason. There was a famous study done on this phenomenon, which this really bothers me, but it's true nonetheless. If you want to cut in front of somebody in line, the study was done specifically with making photocopies. So you want to cut in front of somebody in line to make photocopies. What they found was it didn't matter if the reason was valid at all. All that mattered was that you gave people a reason. And it triggered some ancient wiring in the brain that made them go, okay. And so people would walk up and say, I'm not joking. Can I cut in front of you in line? I need to make copies. And the person standing there, who also needed to make fucking copies, goes, okay, and just let him go. What the fuck? That is exactly what politicians are doing. We don't have enough time to vote on one of the most consequential pieces of legislation because we're too busy doing a dog parade. Okay. It's like, what the fuck, man? Did somebody run around and hit us all with a tack hammer? This is so crazy. This is full retard. Can we please stop doing full retard? Like, this is so wild. We've got to hold people accountable. This is ridiculous.
This is getting great. You cooking right now. Let's go over to Iran. Ambassador Mike HuckaBiBi, who thinks that Israel should just take it all, emailed staff urging his staff to leave.
Almost
Israel.
had our first spit take, boys and girls.
Urging those to leave Israel to depart today, warning of likely high demand for flights from Ben Gurion Airport and stressing a rapid exit, according to a copy reviewed by the New York Times. So if you are in Israel and you're an American and you don't want to get bombed, you should leave right now, is the undertone of this text. Somebody called it that it was going to happen next weekend, so this might be that weekend.
Yeah, I don't even know if we can say that this is the undertext. Literally, Mike HuckaBiBi said, leave Israel today. That is the message straight up. He's the U.S. ambassador to Israel. This is being reported on by the New York Times. It's not some rumor. Also, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued their own advisory urging Chinese citizens in Iran to heighten their precautions if they're stuck. And if they can leave, they should leave as soon as possible. Now, when you've got both sides saying, hey guys, you might want to go now, it is safe to say that something is about to pop off between Israel and Iran. We've got reports of Israel trying to do preemptive strikes on missile locations. We've got obviously the most insane buildup in the Middle East of U.S. military hardware since the war in Iraq. Like, this is wild. HuckaBiBi even sent an email to embassy staff authorizing voluntary departures and urging anyone who wants to leave, again, to do so today. He specifically warned that the advisory will likely result in a high demand for airline seats, as you can imagine, and emphasized that, hey, this is a quote, You need to prioritize getting expeditiously out of the country by booking any available flight from Ben Gurion Airport, even if it requires onward travel to reach Washington, D.C. Okay, this has been corroborated by multiple outlets, including the Times of Israel, the Jerusalem Post, Haaretz, which all reference the New York Times review of the email and describe it as a precautionary measure amid wildly heightened tensions with Iran. The U.S. State Department simultaneously updated its travel advisory, authorizing the departure of non-emergency personnel and family members from Israel due to safety risks, while advising U.S. citizens to consider leaving while commercial flights remain available, which I'm guessing they're not going to remain available for very long, because we are at a point now where Trump has to shit or get off the pot. He understands that. He has got the opportunity to be embarrassed, be drug into a long-standing war, or to get something done. And this is one of those, man, where I'm very interested to see how all of this plays out, because I agree we can't let Iran get nuclear weapons. That would be a very bad idea. And we can't just roll up and strike people. Now, I'll ask you guys to, I say that, but we've done it before. I don't think it's a good idea, especially not with Iran, if you don't have like imminent proof that something new is going on. Because if you now just do another bunker buster dropping of these things, it begs the question of, wait, the first time you told me that this all worked perfectly, so what is going on? You will need to make a very incredible case to the American people to get them behind this. Because if you just every few months go, oh, they're weeks away, then it just seems like the things you're doing aren't really leading to anything. So he's in a super precarious position that we're going to have to see how he's able to get out of this. I think he was just expecting that he was going to put all that hardware there. Iran was going to be like, oops, our bad. Yep, you're right. You can have whatever you want. We agree to all your terms. But this is existential for them. In fact, boys and girls, if I may get you to look at what's happening with Iran the same way that I look at what's happening between the left and the right in America. When you tell people, hey, motherfucker, if you get out of office, I'm coming after you, your family, your dogs, all of that, you're toast, then they start acting crazy. Because the Iranian regime, instead of standing up to what could be just an absolutely obliterating, regime-ending attack, should have the sense to negotiate, where it's like, all right, cool, we're going to chill on getting a nuclear weapon. We're going to acquiesce to you guys coming in and looking at our program and making sure that it's civilian use only and all of that. No problem. That's better than potential death. But they know they're under so much stress from their own people. They're under so much economic pressure from the US that this is existential. So it's like, well, which way do I want to die? Would I rather roll the dice and just say, yeah, fuck you guys, I call your bluff. I've got China on my side. China's got a bunch of cool weaponry that we're going to use to sink your ships. Hey, P.S., we know you guys have run your war games and you realize that Chinese missiles can actually take out your aircraft carrier. China has run the same war games. They've come to the same conclusion. And that very system they've sold and brought here to Iran for us. And hey, can we all acknowledge that you in the U.S. are in a Cold War with China? Yes, I think we can. Cool. So this is really a proxy battle. This isn't about Iran. This is about you guys. And Russia is supposedly getting in the mix here and leaking all of the attack secrets. Now, I don't know how much of all of this is true. We will see in the fullness of time. But that is certainly the landscape of rumors that is flying all over the place. Russia and China are doing everything they can to help Iran. Iran definitely is part of the U.S.'s strategy to weaken China as much as it is to make sure that a despotic regime in the Middle East does not get nuclear weapons. That's your very effective and very real cover story, but nonetheless, this is a part of something much larger than that. And so given all of that complexity, when you back people into an existential corner and you say, hey, one way or the other, we're getting what we want, people do go, oh, cool, then I will take the option of duking it out and fighting to the last drop of blood. Whereas if they think that they have an off-ramp, they might actually take it. So both a warning to all of us here in the U.S. in terms of how we treat each other across the aisle, and a warning to our diplomats in the Middle East that when you back somebody into an existential corner, they will fight for their life and they will do things that they would otherwise not do if they felt that they had other options. And that thing that they will do tends to cause a lot of people to die.
They're at it again. I think collectively nobody wants this war. I don't think anybody's raising their hand. I don't think anybody's excited. I think the same tactics they used in the early 2000s of, yeah, guys, weapons of mass destruction, nukes, it's a week away, it's coming. Like all that stuff just kind of flying all like over our heads. We're like missing it. But
yeah, I do think it's still a little wild that, so, okay, the fact that Trump hasn't made the case to the American people tells me that he believes whatever he does is going to be lightning strike, surgical, and effective. And therefore, people are going to cheer for him like they did when he snatched up Maduro. That the first time when he bombed Fordow, it was mixed. I wouldn't say, I mean, it was mixed with Maduro as well, but I'd say less so. Like there was less.
It was clean though. Yeah, at least, yeah.
So this really comes down to if he has that in his mind and he pulls it off, he knows that he has a track record of doing it. He knows that people get on board relatively quickly. I do believe his poll numbers have gone up both times that he's done a surgical strike and been successful. So he's thinking, I don't really need to make a case for this. If this goes wrong and he doesn't make the case for it, bye-bye. He gets impeached. He will lose the midterms. Toasted cheese, donezo. So it's like he's gambling it all in that. Or he's like, he knows that this is a bluff and this is the one time that he doesn't actually plan to go through with it. I don't know. He certainly does not strike me as... He strikes me as someone who oftentimes wants something to be a bluff, and then the bluff doesn't work. So he's like, all right, fuck it. And then he just actually launches. Drew is looking up a big red button. If only you guys could see what he's doing. I'm not sure where that goes. But yeah, so that all of that makes me incredibly nervous for how this plays out. You've got an existential threat. You've got a president that has backed himself into a corner. You've got real stakes where this actually does matter. And so you can't afford to do nothing, but you're doing something because your foe is a caged animal that's, backed up against the wall, is not working. So it may force you to go all the way.
Okay, let's jump over to some culture stuff. We're about to get into our Friday funnies, but I just wanted to talk about a very interesting scenario because it seems like the are at it again. That delay kind of messed up my joke, but you win some, you lose some. This is about Smiling Friends. It's a show that was on Adult Swim that got preemptively renewed for 2 seasons. It's at the end of season 2 right now. It got renewed through season 4. And then they had this joke, and now suddenly the show's canceled. Let's see what the joke was.
This goes to show that no matter how different we all are, everyone can get along with each other, except for a certain group of people. You know who I'm talking about.
Excuse me?
What?
What did you just say?
I was just wrapping up
You
the
said
episode,
something. You said something about a certain group of people. What?
Oh, it was a
which
joke.
Group,
It was a
which
joke.
Group are you talking
it was
about?
a joke, but it didn't land as much as I thought. It doesn't matter. I guess, whatever.
I'm just curious though. What group? You're not going to say what group it was. You don't want to say which
It
group?
was the group that was supposed to. It was supposed to be a mind experiment. Whoever came to your mind, but it was a joke. Doesn't matter. It didn't land as much as.
Just
I
say the
thought it
group,
would.
dude. Just say what the
Sorry,
group is.
I'm with Charlie here.
This goes to show that no matter.
Not even
That
that bad.
got them canceled.
Not even that bad.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So this is where I'm like, you guys are telling on yourselves. Like, this is such a bad look. I'd be like, okay, listen, the one joke that people can now make freely because we really can act on it because that is just going to like make it look horrible, even if like we have reasons and all of that. That would be it. And yet here we find ourselves. That's crazy that they were preemptively renewed for 2 more years. And now, hey guys, sorry, we're wrapping up. That's wild. That joke was really pretty tame as well.
It's
Now, but what about South Park? South Park surely has done bleep jokes, Jew jokes, Drew. I can't bring myself to dance around it. I'm not a dance around it kind of guy. So
they're under the Paramount umbrella though, and now CBS News is part of. It kissed the ring already, so they could do no wrong now. They got.
I don't understand that. Paramount though isn't that Ellison?
Is Ellison, who's Trump's left-hand man. He was a special guest at the State of the Union
But how does that protect South Park?
because South Park is under that umbrella. They just acquired them.
So Trump is the shield. Interesting.
The closer
I
you
feel
are-
like I should have a tinfoil hat on right now.
I mean, that's my view.
I
But
think South Park
was
has
supposed to
gotten
get
away with
canceled.
murder for a long
Yeah.
time. They somehow have just been grandfathered into like, all right, we accept it from
Yeah.
these guys.
Only them, but
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. I'm surprised by that one.
okay. It's my favorite time of the week. Let's get some jokes in. I want everybody to celebrate happy hour today. But I felt seen with this last post because I went to a happy hour a couple days ago, and this was like a live look at me at the restaurant. Me trying to get the waiter's attention at the Mexican restaurant to refill the basket of chips. Shout out to Bad Bunny. Shout out to Bad Bunny.
Did you ever get your chips?
I never got the chips. I
Damn,
just asked for
Drew.
the check.
That's rough.
This was also funny. This was just entertainment for me because I thought it was hilarious. When you're having a bad day at work, but you don't smoke.
Bubbles. I feel like I have to ask Drew, you good? Do I need to buy you some bubbles? Like, where are we at here?
I just feel like that was like heartwarming. I have a godson. He's 2. He loves blowing bubbles, and I'm like, when did we stop liking blowing bubbles? What was the appropriate age where we were like, no more bubbles? We
That's
hate bubbles
hilarious.
now.
That's a good question.
I think like we go to Universal like all the time,
Yeah.
and my wife literally carries a bottle of bubbles to blow as you go down the escalator.
Let's go.
It's
Bring
fun.
a little joy.
We used to love bubbles. I don't know when we stopped loving bubbles. I don't know.
Interesting.
This one is for all my married people in the chat, so you can feel seen. Tell a woman she's beautiful 100 times and she won't believe you. Tell a woman she's fat once and she'll remember it for the rest of her life because elephants never forget.
God damn. Coming in hot with that one. Drew, that is from The Salt of the Earth. With these jokes, Drew is salting the earth. This is like some scorched earth shit, Drew.
I'm single. I
Like,
can say it.
God
I say
damn,
it.
you feeling okay?
I have no idea. It's gonna get
Drew needs a
progressively
hug
worse.
here.
It'll get
It gets
progressively
worse.
It gets worse.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm starting to sweat, chat.
Cancun, Mexico beach vacations rentals are on sale right now, 50% off. Don't miss this opportunity. Buy when there's blood on the street.
Oh God. You weren't kidding when you said that these get progressively worse.
I thought it was buy low, sell high, right? That was a joke, right?
They do say
Mexican
there's
vacation.
blood in the streets.
Bring it home to your girl, bro. Get the win.
Goodness gracious. That is terrible advice.
And you thought I was done. It only gets worse. I know everybody's seen these bumper stickers. I hate them, but it brought on the left, we have a Tesla. I bought this before
God.
Elon went crazy. On the right, we have a Volkswagen. I bought this after Hitler killed 6 million Jews.
I would like the record to reflect Drew has chosen these memes, boys and girls. Good.
But hold on, like that doesn't frustrate you, the Elon bumper stickers? I hate those. Like I bought this before Elon became a Republican.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think all of those are very dumb, but stuff like this, like if people want to like say who they are, I'm all for it. I'll listen. I'll believe you. But meme culture is savage, is absolutely savage in terms of like, will people actually behave the way that they behave online in real life? That is a totally different question. But yeah. All right, this is interesting, but you've got one below this that I thought was like a real banger. Where
Yeah. That was the short story one. That was like heartfelt. We go there. So this is really interesting. There's a quote that I heard from this Muslim man, which I absolutely loved. He said, if you visit someone's house and they open their door to you, and one of the first things you notice is the dust on their chandelier, the dust on their TV, the dust on their table, don't ever go back to that person's house. Not because their house isn't clean, but because your heart isn't clean. Because someone has opened their house to you, their home to you, their space to you. They could cook dinner for you, give you food, shelter, laughter, whatever it may be. You're sitting there noticing the dirty coffee table, the one plate in the sink. You don't deserve a friend like that. If you're a judgmental person, stay home. Because true friendship is not about judgment. True friendship is about two hearts connecting and being there for each other. That's how we shall see people, know people, and keep people. And I thought that was like a...
And just to make sure I understand the moral of the story, that if your friend is judging your place for being messy, they're not your friend.
Yes. Like if I'm inviting you over to dinner and you're like, and you're looking around, it's like,
Yes.
you should be there for the company and for the act of the heart of I'm opening my home to you, not to see what's in the corner of mine.
I agree, but do you have a limit? Like if you roll up to a chick's house and she's a straight up hoarder, dude, and they're like, you can, not only can you smell the cat shit, there's like hardened cat shit on the floor. You can see it. And you're like, oh, damn. Like I once, cause Lisa and I for a minute, we were about to like really get into real estate in 2006. Thankfully saw what was about to happen. So we backed out of that. But we ended up, you go look at distressed houses. And there was this one house, one was a shut-in. And when I went into the back to look at the kitchen, when I say there was cockroaches everywhere, I could not believe a human being could live in the house. Not like that a human could put themselves in that house. I could not believe they could survive in that house. Like there had to be disease everywhere. I was like, yo. And so no matter how much I loved that woman, if she invited me over, I'd be like, why don't we go to my place? Because
let's get you out the house, babe. I feel like you're home all the time. Let's get you some sunlight.
There is a point at which I would be like, I love you, but we can't hang out at your house. We really can't. And look, I'm a messy guy by nature, but even I have my limits of how far I'm willing to go. Do you really? You have a limit, Drew.
I have a limit. I think the bigger narrative around this is I always call it my couch friends. A lot of times that my newer friends that have gotten into my life, they always want an agenda to do. Oh, let's meet up and go here. Let's go do this. But growing up, I used to have like couch friends. I'm coming over. I have no agenda. I don't need to do anything. You could be cleaning in the background. It doesn't matter. I'm going to scroll on my phone and sit on this couch and we're just in the same vicinity together. And I feel like we lost that like comfortability around people. So a lot of times you invite somebody over and they're like, well, I got to clean my house and I got to do this and I got to do that.
Do you think that's age though? Or is that a shift in culture? Because to me, that feels like it's just age.
I feel like that's a shift in culture though.
Interesting.
Because I feel like if you go to your sister's house, I don't think you're immediately looking at the corners and you're looking under things. You're like, all right, I'm plopping on the couch. If I see a dirty dish, I'm going to give her like Josh around with her, but you're not looking at it like, why isn't this presented cleanly for me to enter?
Yeah, I thought you were going somewhere else with the couch friends thing. So the couch friends thing I thought was about, we don't have to have an agenda. We can like just sit and chill. Whereas for me, what I've found is as I've gotten, like I used to have really tight-knit friends that I hung out with all the time. We did everything together. And then I feel like I aged out of it. I became so goal obsessed that I was so focused on what I was trying to accomplish and felt like I've really got a shot to do something here that I just found myself constantly isolating, working on that thing, grinding it out, trying to like get better at that thing, like move up. And I remember I actually once almost got in a fist fight with a guy. So we got hired the same month, maybe. This was back at a film school I used to teach at. We got hired the same month, both like really low level. I was, believe it or not, a repairman, which even I can't believe is true. But I repaired their Steenbecks. This makes me sound so old. Back in the 1900s, editors would learn to edit on these things where you physically wound the film and you had to cut it up and tape it back together. It's all real. Anybody that grew up on digital stuff, that's going to sound shocking. But nonetheless, I was the guy that repaired those machines, close enough. And so he and I were hired at the same time. I keep getting promoted because I'm just a psychopath. They would say, who can stay late? I can stay late. Who can come early? I can come early. Who can stay over the weekend? We have construction being done and we need somebody to stay here. And literally it was so bad and smoky. I was getting nosebleeds nonstop, but I would show up, I would do it, just never complain. So whatever they needed, they would constantly turn to me. So then it was like, hey, we need somebody to go to Taiwan. Yep, cool. I'll be the guy that goes. And so they were just always reaching out to me. So I started getting promoted. And one day he comes into work, hung the fuck over. By now I'm like, I run the school basically. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, bro, you've got to go home. Like, it is obvious. You smell like alcohol. You were fucking dragging ass. Like, and it just escalated. And he was like, who have you become? And like, he was just tripping out. And I was like, whoa. So the way that people can drift apart as they get older and start like marching down their career, like life just, certainly for somebody with my personality, becomes very different. Like the thought that I would, even my sister, if my sister comes over, we're not just like sitting doing nothing. We're going to, we have like a routine. We talk to the whole family. We started a call during COVID that we've just never stopped doing. So we do like this whole family call. Then we eat together. We talk to my dad. Then we game with my wife. And so it's like, it's got like all this structure to it. We're doing things that are like shared fun. We'd never just like sit around in a way that I used to. I'd never do that now.
That's interesting. I have the exact opposite experience, but I think it's because my family's far and I only see them 2 or 3 times a year. So it's like when I go there, it's watching movies, eating food, and it's like, yeah, we could go to the mall, or we could chill, or
Yeah,
kids
fair.
running
At
around.
Christmas.
So yeah, it's very much like I go with the flow. I don't really have an agenda. All right, I want to get to this. I call it a 8 Mile style campaign ad. I thought it was interesting how like she brought it up, and I'm curious about what do you think the strategy is going into the midterms?
Yup.
Kat Abu Ghazaleh is the kind of radical Democrat Fox News warned you about. Kat believes you deserve universal health care, groceries, and housing. Pfft, where does she think we are? The richest country on earth? Kat isn't a millionaire. She doesn't take PAC money. She can't even afford health insurance herself. How can she possibly relate to normal, hardworking corporations like you and me?
This is a
And it
great
gets
ad.
worse. As a journalist, Kat's reporting helped lead to Tucker Carlson's departure from Fox News. Is that who you want fighting extremists in Washington? Kat claims the Democratic Party should not bow down to Trump or his billionaire friends. Does she think strongly worded letters count as bowing? Kat Abu Ghazaleh represents a new generation of progressive Democrats working to redefine the party's future, and she plans to do it with her ferocious attack cat by her side. Is this who you want representing us? Kat.
Yeah, I think your framing of this as the 8 Mile version of a political ad is bang on. If you guys haven't seen 8 Mile in the final battle, spoiler alert, but the movie's whatever, 25 years old. In the final rap battle, he basically tells on himself on all the bad things. Girlfriend cheated on me, yada, yada, all the things that they would otherwise use against him. And he takes it away from them. It's a brilliant strategy in real life, as Kat is showing here. The bad news is that, again, this is somebody who's economically illiterate. So they look at the world and say, oh, we're the richest country on earth. Therefore, everything should be made cheaper for everybody. And that's not how making things cheap works. So if she were banging the drum and saying, the life is unaffordable, we need to deregulate, I'd be like, oh, word, yeah. Okay, you might actually have a shot there. Deregulating the housing industry is going to drive costs down. There are a lot, like when you look at the costs of a Fortune 500 company and what percentage of their money goes towards regulation, it's insane. So there are things that we could do to simplify without getting rid of actual useful protections, but that's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about radical people that have an agenda that does not work, that it is socialism. There's no reason to call it anything other than that. And so, yeah, I hate seeing when somebody who I know has policies that are absolutely atrocious, they're going to speak so well to their generation. And so their generation is going to have to suffer. And that makes me very sad. Very sad.
We're about to get hit with dozens, if not hundreds, of campaign ads over the next 6 months. And they're going to range from, hey, it's just me, a hardworking guy with my sleeves rolled up outside in a cornfield. I'm shaking a guy in a pickup truck's hand and I'm kissing a baby. You should vote for me. To the dark horror style, this person wants Mexican illegals to rape your daughter. Right. Like, so there's going to be a bunch of that. How
Way
do we,
too accurate.
Yeah. How are we going to shift through that? How do you recommend people kind of approach?
Well, so those are two different questions. How do people approach it, and what is actually going to happen? So it is going to be, people are going to be completely bamboozled by all of the emotional appeals. The emotional appeals will work great. One of the campaign ads you already see the Trump administration running as basically build up to the midterms is, hey, at the State of the Union, we asked people to stand up for what they believe in, and they sat down and we said, should you protect American citizens first? And they said no by sitting down. They're going to run that to death. And so that was a stupid own goal by the Democrats. The Democrats, dude, just be deft. Like today, when Mamdani does something that I'm like, oh, yes, please. I don't go, well, that's a good thing by a bad person, so therefore I don't like it. I go, oh, yeah. Like, I don't need him to be in a bad person box. If he changes his economic policies, I'm going to be here for it. So I want good things to happen to Americans. I want good things to happen to New Yorkers, Minnesotans, Californians, wherever you are. I want good things. Now, I'm just talking cause and effect. So the cause and effect of the human mind is that emotional appeals work. And so both sides are going to do it. Attack ads work. So both sides are going to do it. Now, I think, given the historical propensity for whoever won the major election to lose the midterms, and so far Trump has not given people enough economic reason to go against all the shit showy stuff. So if he doesn't pull that off by November, it's just like the easiest blue wave ever. And so it's going to come down to, are they able to package up radical socialism in a way that feels appealing? And so they're going to use an emotional appeal like Kat is doing, where it's like, we believe that you should have housing. What the fuck does that mean? If you're saying we believe that you should be able to afford housing and we're going to get rid of the obstacles in your way, great. If they say we believe you should have affordable housing and we're going to force people to stop raising their rents, that will be a detriment to the very people that they're promising to protect. And that's why I point at Mamdani and I go, hold on, the very guy who told you I'm going to stabilize rents is now saying, actually, 47 days later, I'm going to raise your rents by raising property taxes. And people aren't outraged enough. People don't hate democratic socialism enough. They really don't hate it enough. They don't understand it, and so therefore they don't hate it. But it is a violent ideology that will be a problem. It will march us down a path that is so devastating economically. And the great news is, I tell this to entrepreneurs all the time. If you're thinking of doing something, ask yourself, has anybody done this before me? If the answer is yes, go audit them. Figure out what worked and what didn't work. Have we tried rent stabilization efforts in New York before? Yes. How did it work? Terribly. Why are the outcomes so knowable from cause and effect? They are knowable because buildings are a business, and any business that doesn't have enough money to run the business go out of business, and they're going to decline. They're going to decline in quality. And so people end up doing things like burning the buildings down because they want the insurance money. Just look at what happened to the Bronx in the 70s and 80s. It's absolute insanity. You can map all of this stuff, and then you can map how they got out of that. And they got out of that by stopping the freezing of rents. So it's like, oh my God, like seeing humans have to touch the same hot stove because grandma telling you, no, it's really hot and it's going to burn you. Her kid will believe it. Her grandkids won't. And so it's like, oh my God. So that
brings me up to something. Joe Lonsdale said this in the interview like last week, 2 weeks ago, and we never got to it. But I wanted to see, how do you feel about this take and if this kind of aligns with what you're saying?
How does that impact? No, it's fair. Yeah. Listen, I obviously think lower taxes is better, but I mean, I would be fine to pay like way higher taxes myself just to have a competent functioning society. I want to be clear about that. Like, I am not voting for lower taxes here. Like,
that's not my question. My question is different.
Taxes, and they're better, but like I would literally pay a 90% tax rate. I'm fucking rich, Michael. I would pay a 90% tax rate if we could keep our society competent. If we could stop having illegals swarm into our country, if we can fire accountable bureaucrats, if we can put systems into place to make our government competent, if we could stop having regulators harass and destroy and impugn builders, like I will pay whatever taxes that takes. I'll pay like 90% of my fortune, because like we need our country to be functional for my kids and grandkids and everyone else to live in a functional society. I think that's like the important point here, like that this is not about saving some dollars on taxes. Like, this is about saving our civilization.
Is that like a accurate take? Like, it's not the taxes that's a problem. It's what government has done with the taxes. And if we just reallocated that in a better way, billionaires and rich people, quote unquote, be more apt to buy into the system?
Yes. If you want to know why Joe Lonsdale would be willing to pay 90% of his fortune in taxes for an actual stable, high-functioning government, all you have to understand is that people are selfish. Joe, every rich person ever wants and needs a stable society for them to have kids, for them to build a business. You have to have somebody to sell to. And so once you understand, the big pushback that people have is that they are tired of paying for a system that doesn't work. They are tired of paying for a system that spends more than it takes in so that it guarantees that you're going to have a K-shaped economy. And just getting people to understand that the K-shaped economy is born of the fact that you spend more than you make. And people just fundamentally do not understand why wealthy people get so up in arms about tax. So if you're in a certain tax bracket, like the top tax bracket in California for sure, you're going to pay more than 50% of your income in taxes. And so wealthy people are used to paying ridiculously high taxes. The frustration comes not from the taxes, it comes from how the taxes are used. And so while I think it's a little disingenuous to say that he would, in an ongoing fashion, pay 90% of his taxes, because just historically, we see it shuts people down because you start going, why am I doing this? But having a high functioning society is worth the money. The only problem is that taxing at 90% doesn't give you a high functioning society. The two things aren't even related. That's the problem. And so when people talk about like, hey, I'd be willing to do this, it's like, yeah, I would pay 90% of my net worth to have a magic wand. But the reality is what causes dysfunction in government is something else entirely. And what causes dysfunction in government is a central bank tied to a government that refuses to balance its budget. If the government balanced its budget, you can basically have anything you want. You just can't have everything you want. And getting people to understand that is next to impossible. It benefits everybody, not the least of all the wealthy, to have a stable society. Ask the French at the time of the French Revolution how glorious it was to be wealthy. Not very, because it caused you to have your head separated from your body. So stable society is always going to trump everything. It's like they say, a person with their health wants for many things. A person without their health only wants for one thing. When you have a sick society, everybody in that society wants for one thing, and that's for the society to be stable. Once you lose that, you're in trouble.
Well said. Well said. Quick update on Epstein. Hillary Clinton talked to reporters yesterday after she left her deposition.
Can I ask, why was...
And by the way, before we end today, I want to talk about Warner Brothers.
Okay.
But sorry.
We're going over, everybody.
We'll be quick. We'll be quick.
Maxwell, thank you for the daughter of Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010. She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted before that.
She came as the plus one, the guest of someone who was invited.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
And then peace out. Bye. Gotta go. All right. If you guys couldn't hear that because the audio was a little wacky, she was asked, this is after her deposition, Hillary Clinton, after her deposition on Epstein, was asked like, hey, real quick, how come Ghislaine Maxwell was at your daughter's wedding? And she was like, well, she was the guest of somebody else that was at the party. And so bye, gotta go. This is one of those things. The optics of this are absolutely terrible. And also the odds that that's true, like she wants to have her cake and eat it too. When previously, when talking about the Clinton Foundation, she presents herself as being very involved. Now, when it's like, hey, was Jeffrey Epstein one of the biggest donors, one of the earliest donors? It's like, yeah, I wasn't really involved in that. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask my husband. So it just feels very disingenuous at this point. We'll see. That's all court of public opinion. We need to see what actually happens. They've gotten now hours and hours and hours of depositions. According to people inside the room, they asked every question that they had. It's all recorded. It's all on the record. So I don't know if eventually that's going to be made public or if that was part of the rule was that they couldn't. I don't know. We'll see in the fullness of time. But it's like, man, the Clintons just are not doing themselves any favors with the reputation that they have, put in context with how many photos there are of Clinton and Epstein together. I mean, plus, and this is sort of unfair to them, you've got House of Cards, which I think a lot of people just assume it was meant to be the Clintons. So it is, yeah, it's not a good time to be them. It just, all the optics are absolutely god awful.
And in other news, the president and the CEO of the World Economic Forum resigns due to the Epstein ties. Thomas Massey retweeted it. CEO of World Economic Forum resigns. You're welcome.
Yeah, shout out to Thomas Massey. This stuff is not going away. We live in the age of information. And I think right now people think whatever weird thing they've done in their past is buried. It's never going to be seen. But the honest answer is when you combine the age of information with AI, you begin realizing that all of that stuff is going to be easy as hell to index. Now, it's bad for the average person because if the government is so inclined, and it seems like they are, they're going to be mapping all of that stuff about you. Did you guys know right now it's actually legal in the United States for the government to buy your like browsing history and stuff? I didn't know that. That's wild to me. I think we should immediately make that illegal. But nonetheless, they can do it. And so just like an advertiser on Meta can get all that, without AI, they can't really tell who it is. With AI, they're going to be able to map all of that stuff, put it back together, know exactly who you are. And that's the kind of thing where, man, if you're a politician and you think something is dead and buried, baby, it is not going to stay dead and buried for long. All of that stuff is going to start to get mapped out by AI. All of this stuff is going to start coming out. It is going to be wild times. And if you're looking at your screen, we got Massey and Rokana.
That's my
Kudos
28,
to
28
these guys.
card. Let's go.
Kudos to these guys. Drew wants to see the economy burn. I see how it is. But on the Epstein thing, these guys are batting 1,000. So yeah, I think people need to really get their affairs in order here, because we're going to see all of these connections mapped out. It's not going to go away. So yeah, buckle up.
Also, regarding this tweet, somebody retweeted it. As long as you hate Jews, am I right? And then Thomas Massey said, so exposing a global child sex trafficking ring is now anti-Semitic? Gotcha. He's on fire, man. That guy can't miss.
Yeah.
That guy cannot miss.
It is
Announce
pretty
your run.
stupid when people
Announce
start
your run, bro.
when people start just trying to make everything that.
Okay, we got to talk about Warner Brothers. Can you vamp for me as I pull it up?
Oh yeah, man. I got you. So Netflix is pulled out of the Warner Brothers acquisition deal. It is now all Paramount all the time. And once again, we have a very wealthy person in Larry Ellison via his son who realizes, baby, you got to control that narrative. You live in narrative warfare, boys and girls. This is a battle for your minds and your soul, and it will always and forever play out in the realm of ideas. And one of the greatest ways to get ideas across is social media. The other would be storytelling. And once you look at it through that lens, things start to look a little bit different. You can understand why people get a little bit nervous when one person starts hoovering up all of this stuff. But it's also good business, and you do need to accumulate as many of the franchises as humanly possible. But this is where all of us have to be discerning and remember that we now have options that we wouldn't have had before. And in fact, may I thank the people that are live with us here right now. This literally is the kind of show that is disrupting the old world media. So we now have plenty of avenues to get word out, to talk about things that otherwise would have been censored, shut down, or whatever. But I know a lot of people have censorship concerns around what is going on with this acquisition, because now things that otherwise might have made its way to the show, like, hey, a cartoon where they make a joke about some people, and poof, it's gone. So as you consolidate that into fewer and fewer hands, if those fewer and fewer hands have an agenda, which they basically always do, then you can worry about what the world looks like through that invisible hand of censorship versus the overt, I'm just not allowed to say the thing that I want to say. So if you look at it purely from an entertainment perspective, I get it. I understand why this stuff is consolidating. We're going to live eternally through the consolidate, unbundle, rebundle, unbundle. It's the cycle that we've lived in through forever. But when very politically active people like Larry Ellison, who was at the State of the Union, start buying up your, I mean, this is an old reference, but start buying up your newspapers, your radio stations, your TV shows, that's when you do need to be cognizant. Doesn't automatically mean they're doing something nefarious, but you need to be cognizant of the power that they now wield. So if you've ever heard of the movie Citizen Kane, it was all about that exact thing, how one man was able to control the lives of so many simply by owning all the newspapers.
Speaking of Citizen Kane, it will now be a Paramount property.
There we go. Have you seen Citizen Kane?
I have once. I
It's
feel like
so
I was
good.
supposed to like it, but it's,
Oh my God.
there's certain like film school movies that are like masterpieces, and at the time and historically, and I
Yeah.
give them all the reference. But me in the age of CGI was just like black and white, 3 hours.
Yeah.
There was a 20-minute intermission. Like it was kind of.
I get it. It's one of those, you have to understand the context in which it came out, like how radical the visual language was, that nobody had done the kind of like depth of field that they were doing. And so there was just really awesome stuff. But yes, if you're an average film goer, you're going to be bored to absolute tears. And also I think there's a just big enough difference between your generation and my generation. Like I grew up in the 80s, so I was revering films from the 60s and 70s. So I was way more in touch with like older school style storytelling. So I just had that language. So as blockbusters began to eat the world, it wasn't the only thing I was being exposed to. And so I'm far more, I think, primed to enjoy something like that.
Gotcha.
But I get it. I get it.
Super chats.
All right, first up from John Cragness. Drew, Tom, please Google and take a look at the table of contents on page 7 in an 1870 textbook called Ray's New Practical Arithmetic. There are links at WordPress. It is amazing what is required of the 5th graders. Shocked how much lost.
Oh man, if you look at the State of the Union the grade level of the language used, it dropped from PhD level to, I think, 5th or 6th grade level. So yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Like, as you lower the bar of your expectations, Drew.
Yeah,
I can feel it. I got a rant. I got a rant.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it. It's Friday. We love a Friday rant.
I am terrified that culturally we have somehow made it okay for people to seek comfort and safety instead of challenge and growth. But we have, and the depths of despair that is going to bring truly cannot be adequately enumerated. It is going to be deeply problematic. Just as the human immune system requires assault from bacteria, from viruses for it to develop well, just as a tree requires wind in order to be strong enough and flexible enough that when the wind blows as it gets taller, it doesn't just topple over. Humans need challenge. They need to lack safety. And the number of times that I hear from people where they're using the word safety, safe environment, all of that stuff, as if that's the very thing that they seek out instead of, I want the thing that challenges me. I cannot tell you, in my quest to go from somebody working to repair equipment to owning and running my own companies and having come up as an employee that became an equal partner through just blood, sweat, and tears, I'm telling you, it was always me going, oof, I'm in a really difficult situation. This is very hard. Everything about this, from just the sheer hours that I'm working, to the physical stress, to the mental stress, to the number of assholes you meet along the way, to the fuck ups that you make that end up being like a gut punch to you, and always saying, okay, well, this is what I've got to do. I've got to stay focused in this. I just kept asking myself relentlessly, is this the surest path to my success? If it is, keep going. And the answer was always yes. And I just kept pushing forward. And there were times where it was absolutely miserable, but it made me tougher. You don't get tougher by looking for all the easy shit. You get tougher by finding the thing that's hard and finding a way to thrive in that. And I know that there are going to be people that hate this, that every word out of my mouth just sounds ridiculous. It sounds anachronistic. It sounds like, get off my lawn, kids. But the reality is the human mind is a certain way. And if you fail to acknowledge that, you will suffer the slings and arrows of that. And so, yeah, please don't lose sight of the fact that you're having a biological experience and that your mind works in a certain way. And if you want to be tough and capable, you actively need to seek out challenge. And you certainly can't tuck tail and run when something gets hard or makes you feel badly about yourself. You've got to find a way to right the ship, get things moving in the direction again. Because wherever you go, there you will be.
Ipso facto. Can you throw this up real quick, G? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, compound numbers, all those things my daughter still did at 5th grade. Practice, decimals, all those are like, yeah, that makes sense. This second half, though, and I think this is what he was talking about, exchange, domestic exchange, foreign exchange, so the exchange rates of currencies, insurance, fire and life insurance, taxes, state and local taxes, United States revenue, internal revenue, duties or customs, aka tariffs, ratios, proportions. So there is a lot more of economic math included here as well. And this whole second page kind of got cut out. So
that is wild.
Keep them broke, keep them dumb.
That is that was from Marussia.
No, who was the
John Cragness.
John Cragness.
Thank you, John. Thank you, man.
That's fine.
That is a good one. Very, very good. That was dope. All right, it's a great place to end. Everybody,
we got more super chats.
I do that a lot. I think I need like we used to have that red light that was like, you've got super chat. All right, let's go, Mason. I'm locked in.
So first one from Blake Bullion. Mason, you will be missed. I'll never forget the day I kept adding you for my super chat that was under $20. I felt bad, and I appreciate you and Tom remembering that and answering it well after it happened. Morning all.
Oh,
Thank you, Blake. That's very
sweet. Very sweet.
We're going to miss you, Mason.
I will miss you guys as well. And then from April, this one's actually really cool. Been watching for a while and just want to thank Tom and the team. Without this show, I wouldn't have worked 70 plus hours a week to invest and own assets. People called me crazy. Now it makes sense. Debt free, top 10%. I made it.
That just got me hyped. That just got me excited.
Oh.
Let's go, April. Let's go.
That is awesome.
Shout out
April,
to the 2%. Let's
thank
go.
you. That's amazing.
That's
And
a banger.
congratulations, by the way.
Let's go.
That's rad.
Definitely is huge.
That is rad.
Shout out to April. That's big.
Yeah, we need to grab that one. I know on the cold, wintry nights of the soul. I will cuddle up with that.
Every time
comment.
the channel numbers dip, I'm just gonna look at that comment.
Be like, it's worth the fight.
We're doing it for April. I think that's all.
That it?
That is.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
All right. Boys and girls, have a wonderful weekend. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, please. Hit the like button. It helps a lot. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Peace.